I asked you guys for physiques to critique, and you guys delivered. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. We're going to do something a little different today. I'm actually really excited for today's video. A couple weeks ago, I put out a feeler on Instagram just to kind of get an idea of what type of content you guys wanted to see over here on YouTube. And I had somebody suggest doing a Rate Your Physique segment. And I replied to that and made that suggestion as a post and asked if people would actually submit their physiques for me to critique, and I was actually just blown away by the response that I had gotten. So I was very excited to do this and get this out. So here we are. Hopefully this will be the first of many Rate Your Physique segments. Before we get into actually rating your guys' physiques, I did have a couple of disclaimers and things that I wanted to make at the beginning, just the real boring stuff. We got to get it out of the way. First of all, if you submitted for this and I did not critique your physique today, it's probably because your pictures were not very good. I was really kind of disappointed with how many people submitted a Rate Your Physique and then covered half of their physique by not showing their legs. You know, the legs was the big culprit. I got a lot of shirtless pictures in the gym or in people's bedrooms, what have you, but I didn't really see a lot of legs. And I just kind of wanted to remind you guys that this is a Rate Your Physique segment, and it's very hard to rate a physique when I'm only looking at half of a physique. So just please keep that in mind. I do plan on doing more of these, so if your submission didn't make the cut today, there's a very good chance it will make the cut next time, but just please be mindful of the pictures that you guys are submitting. You know, this is a Rate Your Physique segment. I need to see the full physique. Number two, I'm going to try really hard to be on track with people's names. I do have a decent amount of applicants from other countries outside of the United States, so I'm going to try my hardest to pronounce the names correctly, but obviously cut me some slack with that. And then finally, as far as basically what we're going to do today, you know, how I'm going to rate your guys' physiques, basically what I asked for in your guys' submissions was for you guys to give me your name, your age, your height, your weight, and then be specific about what your goals are. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to go over your guys' physiques, and we're going to kind of talk about your goal. And then what I really am looking forward to doing is I'm basically using this series as kind of like a giant hypothetical. I'm kind of imagining that you guys in a way are applying for coaching with me, and basically what I would like to do is kind of just give you guys my personal feedback. If you were someone who was reaching out to me for coaching, these would kind of be the things that I think we should focus on, and so on and so forth. So basically anything that kind of stands out to me in your physique, strong points, weak points, I'll kind of just tell you guys what's fresh on my mind. And then I did have a decent amount of submissions from people who are actively competing or have expressed that they have aspirations for competing. And in that scenario, I'm going to rate you guys in two different ways. I'm going to give everybody a rating from 1 to 10, just based off of what their physique looks like to the general mainstream population. And then for those people who have expressed interest in potentially competing or actively are competing, you're going to get a second rating. You're going to get a competitor rating, because just because you may have a good physique at the beach or at the grocery store, obviously that doesn't mean that that physique may fare up really well in a competitive bodybuilding lineup. And if you've expressed to me that your goals are to compete, then obviously I'm going to judge you based off of the criteria of competitors. So I just kind of want everyone to keep that in mind. I don't really have a set formula or a set equation or an algorithm or anything that I'm using. I'm just kind of taking a look at your guys' physiques, kind of taking a look at where I think that you should be based off of what you've kind of explained to me, and then kind of give you guys a rating based off of that. All right, let's jump in with our first physique, and we're starting off on a good one here. This is Dimitri Duchesne. I believe that I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Dimitri is 30 years old. He's 5'9" and 193 pounds. His goals are to be a competitive NPC classic physique bodybuilder, and he estimates that he's around 5 to 6 weeks out in the pictures that he's attached for me. First of all, man, this is a really, really solid physique from what I'm looking at. You look pretty symmetrical. It doesn't look like your upper body is bigger than your lower body or vice versa. It kind of seems like everything is pretty proportionate here. I do think there are some posing adjustments that you can make, in particular the side chest that I'm looking at here. I think that you can make your chest a little bit more taller and kind of elongate your torso a little bit. Maybe make the pecs appear to look a bit fuller. And then I think that you could do a better job of taking the rear bicep and jamming that into the pec harder, just to kind of bunch that up a little bit more, and again, make the pecs appear a little bit fuller. Really great calves in the side shot. Delts look good in the side shot too. As far as conditioning, you estimate that you're about 5 to 6 weeks out. It really kind of depends. Everybody kind of gets in shape at certain rates, and some people get in shape quicker than others, and some people kind of tend to hit a stride pretty well at the last minute. I do think that your conditioning from the front is pretty solid. Legs definitely need to be a little bit tighter, and just in general, I would say that if you were a client of mine, I would prefer that you would be a little bit leaner than this for 5 to 6 weeks out. I don't know if you're actively in a prep now, or if this is just pictures that you think that you're around that level of conditioning. But personally, if you were a client of mine, I would like to see you a little bit tighter than this at around 5 to 6 weeks out. But the physique itself and the muscularity that you carry is pretty solid. As far as improvements, I think maybe some bigger biceps, particularly if you're gonna do classic. Arms are a really big key factor for that division. Quads could be a little bit bigger too, and then the lats, particularly the lats from the rear and the front. As I'm looking at this front double bicep shot here, ideally I'd like to see a little bit more lat in the, kind of in like under the armpit here, like in that front double bicep portion. So overall, man, physique rating on like a general population scale, man, this is a 9 out of 10. I don't know a single person alive who would not want to look like this, particularly at the beach, man. You look great. You look very, very good. On a competitor scale, I would probably rate this at maybe like a 5.5 or 6 out of 10. You're a few body parts away, a couple of pounds here and there from being a legit 6.5, 7 out of 10 and really competing for the top of a weight class. You could easily compete for the top of a weight class with the way that you look here, depending obviously on who shows up and who you compete against. And then obviously conditioning, if you can get that next level of conditioning, you're already very lean, but if you want to step on a stage, particularly in the NPC and in classic physique, which is the most competitive division for men right now, and I actually believe that it is more competitive than men's physique, despite what some may say on that. But I think that you're a solid like 5.5, 6 out of 10. So you definitely be able to hold your own in a lineup with the way that you look right now. Just a few little things here and there would take you to the next level, in my opinion. Okay, next physique is Oliver Fettkether. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. He's 19 years old, 6'1", and 169 pounds in these photos that he sent me. He wants to compete in 2 to 3 years in classic physique. And then he says, feel free to blur anything. I'm not blurring anything, guys. What you submit to me is what's going on the video. So 19 years old, a decent frame. The shoulders look pretty good. Arms look good, particularly in the side shot here. Very right away, it's kind of glaring to me that your lats are a weak point for you, and lats need to be quite a bit bigger. Legs, the whole leg, calf, quad, hamstring, glute, all needs to be a little bit bigger there. Obviously, you're 19 years old, so you still got a ton of time, and you're still relatively new at this. I would say that you have a decent frame, and this is a physique, especially with you being a little bit taller, you being 6'1", that, you know, this is going to be a physique that you're going to have to eat and grow and grow and grow for 5 years. You had said that you had kind of planned on competing in about 2 to 3 years. If you were a client of mine, I would say that you're probably about 4 to 5 years away from being competitive in a lineup. And I guess that's another thing that I should specify. You know, a lot of people say they want to compete, and there's a difference between just competing and saying that you're competing and competing to win. So I'm kind of under the assumption that for those of you guys who are saying that you want to compete, I'm assuming that you're doing that with the intention of winning or being competitive and placing well. And I would say that you're probably about 4 to 5 years away from that, especially at your height. But you have a good frame, and as long as you just stay the course and you eat and you gain, you know, you are 169 pounds in these pictures. If you had applied to be a client of mine, I would say that I wouldn't even consider a cutting phase for you until you hit at least 200. I mean, you've got a lot of room to push the body weight up and put some size on. So that would be what my recommendations would be for you. But as far as the physique, man, I'd probably rate this like a solid like 5 or 6 out of 10, like in general public, especially at your age. You know, there's not going to be tons of 19-year-olds that are going to be lean and have biceps and stuff like that, and arms and whatnot, like what you do. But on a competitor scale, this is probably like maybe like a 3 or 4 out of 10 if you're competing against other people that are your age. Okay, next physique is Chase Allen. Chase is 29, 6'1", 224 pounds. The goal is to recomp / lose body fat and then build up from there, considering competing in classic physique. So, you know, based off of the pictures and everything that you kind of sent me here, I would definitely agree that you need to lean out a little bit. I think a recomp is a waste of your time. I think a recomp is a waste of time for everybody that's watching this video. I think that you should just dive into a deep deficit, get the cut done and over with, and the quicker that you can get the cut done, the quicker that you can get into a surplus and gain weight. In the back double shot, the lats actually look okay. The lats look like they're one of your strong points. Definitely need to improve the arms, the shoulders, the legs, all parts of the leg, quad, calf, ham, adductor, glute. It all could improve. Not really too many good pictures that show the chest. This side shot is okay, but I think the way that you're hitting the pose kind of makes it a little difficult to tell like how big your pecs like truly are. But this is another one of those physiques where it needs like more muscle everywhere. So in terms of like being specific about like which areas to bring up, I don't think is really going to do you any good, because I think that all of the areas could really come up. But if I really had to pick something, I think that your legs, particularly your legs from the front, like the quad and adductor and calf, if you were to put some size on those, that would make your physique look a little bit more symmetrical. So let's say I'll give you 2 ratings here because you had expressed potential and wanting to compete. On like a general population scale, I would say that this is like a 5 or 6 out of 10. On a competitor scale, I would say that this is probably like a 3 or 4 out of 10, especially in classic physique. At this point, there's nothing about your physique that really screams classic physique to me. So I think just improving your arms, legs, back, chest, I mean, just really kind of putting some size on will really help you take more of that classic shape. Okay, next physique is Gabriel Espinoza Jr., 21 years old, 5'11", and about 175 pounds. The goal is to get bigger, no plans to compete anytime soon. Gaining weight has always been a struggle. Unfortunately, I had an inguinal hernia surgery last Tuesday, and my biggest concern is being able to push hard in the gym. Knowing what a hernia is, it's hard to imagine myself training as hard as I used to. Well, the first thing I would say is that that's bullshit. I mean, almost every bodybuilder that I know has a hernia. I have a hernia right now. If I put my finger right here on the lower part of my abs, I can feel a bulge there in my abdomen wall. I have a hernia. Fortunately, I haven't had to have surgery or anything for it, but people have hernias all the time in bodybuilding, and the hernia repair, from what I've seen, seems to be pretty quick. So as far as being worried about that, man, I don't think that that's really a major concern. I mean, everybody I know that has a hernia recovers, and they recover pretty quickly. So that would not really be something that I would concern yourself with. As far as the physique, you're respectably lean. In these pictures here, you've got decent abs, and can start to see the outline of your Christmas tree and the back double bicep here. This is a physique that just needs more muscle everywhere. Again, just not really particularly isolated to one particular area. I think the arms and shoulders and back and legs and chest, I mean, all of it just needs to improve. But you expressed that there's no like immediate plans on competing. So obviously you've got plenty of time to get the job done. I'll give you two scales. Again, general population, this would probably be like 5 out of 10, and then competitor would probably be like a 2 or 3. I mean, at this point in time right now, obviously, so yeah, a lot of room to work up to that. But you're in a good starting point. I mean, I didn't even start training until I was 20. So for you being 21, you're already ahead of where I was at that age. So just keep on doing your thing, man. Okay, next physique is Lorenzo Guerra, 19 years old, 5'8", and 174 pounds. The goal is to grow muscle while staying relatively lean. May seek coaching in the future. So I guess this would be, if you're potentially interested in coaching, then this would be the same thing I'd go over with you on a consultation call. So unfortunately, there aren't really tons of pictures of the legs, but from what I can see on the legs are definitely a point that needs to be improved quite a bit. You have great arms, particularly your biceps look really, really good. In this one picture here, you have some pretty solid looking triceps. Of course, that's a gym mirror picture, so you got to kind of take that with a grain of salt. But arms in general look like a pretty strong point. As far as weak points to improve, I would definitely focus on bringing up your legs massively. I'd probably have you training your lower body twice as frequently as your upper body, if not more. Chest could come up too. Shoulders look pretty decent. Bigger traps, like more trap like up towards the neck leg area would make that most muscular shot look pretty good. So didn't really express any interest of competing, so I would say on like a general population scale, this would probably be like 6.5 out of 10, particularly the big arms. I mean, in general population, man, if you've got big arms, that's the thing that people are gonna notice the most. So I'd say probably like a good like 6.5 out of 10 beach physique. Okay, next physique is Chad. Chad is actually a client of mine, Chad Men. Chad is 17. Right now, he's about 76 kilos, but in these pictures, I think he was probably around like 70 or 71 kilos. So we're probably looking at like 160 something-ish pounds. And he's 5'8" as well. So Chad, I've kind of talked to Chad about this a lot because Chad is obviously a client of mine. But I think for Chad's age and Chad's level of training experience and kind of where Chad comes from with a relatively overweight background, I think that Chad has a really, really good starting point, and I think that he's got a bright future in the endeavor of bodybuilding, whether that ends up ending up on a stage or something like that. I know that Chad may want to compete one day, not anytime in the near future, but right now he's really just kind of enjoying the process of bodybuilding and getting bigger and really learning how to train hard and train hard consistently. So in the pictures that Chad attached, he didn't really give me too many pictures of his legs, but I do have pictures of his legs from our check-ins, and he has some pretty strong legs for his age, particularly his calves. His calves are probably one of his better body parts, particularly on the lower body. So Chad, I'd give you for your age and where you're at, I'd give you like a solid like 6 out of 10, like general population. There's not going to be tons of 17-year-olds that have calves like you, and when you're lean, you've got a lot of really, really good definitions. So I'd give you like a solid like 6 out of 10 with a general population scale. Okay, next physique is Michael Cox. Michael is 19, 6 feet tall, and 180 pounds. The goal is to try and add muscle over the next 3 years and then prep for a natural classic physique show. Pretty lean in the pictures that you've attached. I'm not sure if these are current or if these are from like a previous cut or something like that, but pretty lean, so I wouldn't really have any doubts about you being able to get in shape for the show. Now, obviously, getting in stage level conditioning versus getting lean for some gym mirror pictures are two very, very different things, but just the fact that you can get relatively lean is in itself is promising, and it's a good starting point. As far as areas to improve, lots of work on the lats, arms, and legs. Those are really going to be the main muscle groups that you're getting judged on and are going to influence your poses the most in classic physique, specifically is your arms, your lats, and your legs. Most of the pictures that you attached here are just upper body shots, and I can't really see much of the legs, but in the pictures that I can see of the legs, they are a big glaring weakness that you need to improve. So general population scale, I'd give you probably like a 5.5, 6 out of 10. Competitor scale, probably like a 4 or 5 out of 10. Just need to be bigger and need to be bigger everywhere, but specifically in the legs, lats, and arms. Those are going to be the muscle groups that are going to impact your poses the most in classic physique. Next physique is Danny Mann. Danny is 23, 6'4", and 207 pounds. The goal is wants to compete in classic physique one day, possibly in the summer or fall of 2026. Would love to step on stage one day to prove something to myself. Okay, so again, this is going to be another one of those conversations where are you wanting to step on stage to say that you have stepped on stage, or are you stepping on stage to win and be competitive? So obviously, as far as stepping on a stage, you can do that whenever you want. As far as like being competitive and being able to win a weight class and potentially compete for an overall, it kind of similar to one of the physiques that I had kind of mentioned a little bit earlier. I think that you're 3 to 4 years away from being able to do that. I don't necessarily see any muscle groups on you that I would consider strong points. Maybe your biceps. Your biceps would probably be your strongest muscle group that you have, but I don't know if I would necessarily say that they're like amazing, but everything else, particularly, again, classic physique, you're looking at legs, you're looking at more arms, and you're looking at lats. But even your chest on the side chest pose, I don't know if it's just the way that you're hitting it or if this is just like what it is, but the chest does look really shallow. Would like to see the chest be quite a bit bigger too for when you hit that side chest pose. From the back, the lats need to be a little bit more sweeping. Same thing with the front. The lats need to be a little bit more sweeping under the armpit in the front double pose. And legs, particularly the calves. I know that calves are a hard muscle group to grow, but your calves are kind of straight up and down. I mean, you need a lot of mass on the calves, and the quad looks okay in this pose. Again, this is a gym, probably with a pump pose and a mirror, so you got to kind of take it with a grain of salt. But hamstrings and adductors and everything look pretty shallow from the back too. So again, I just need to specify whether you're trying to compete just to compete or compete to win. Obviously, that's up to you, and everyone has like a different goal with competing. But general population scale, I'd probably give this like a 4.5, 5 out of 10. Competitor scale would probably be like a 3.5 out of 10 there. Would need a couple of years of some really solid productive off seasons before I would consider it like as a coach. Okay, next physique, Landon Justice. Landon is 20, 6'1", 207 pounds. Current goals are to bring up pretty much everything. Wants to add 10 to 20 pounds of muscle over the next 3 to 5 years. And also potentially compete in your mid to late 20s. So again, this is going to be kind of similar to the physique that we just had before. I don't really see any particularly strong points on your physique. The legs are mostly covered up, but from what I can see on the legs, they look like they need to improve quite a bit. Chest is a little shallow. Arms and shoulders are a little flat too. There's not a lot of roundness to the shoulders in the side shot and in the back shot. So lots of lateral raises and bringing those up. As far as the division to compete in, maybe men's physique. I know that was one of the things that you had mentioned, is maybe competing in men's physique, but you think that you have a thicker waist. The first thing that I would say is that you're nowhere near lean enough to be able to know what your waist truly looks like. Obviously the leaner that you get, the tighter that waist gets. So it's a little too early for you to be able to gauge what your waist size truly looks like, especially if you've never been show lean. And obviously if you put muscle mass in the right places, you can make that waist appear smaller than what it looks like anyways. So I do think that men's physique would probably be the best division for you to compete in, because men's physique is going to be the division that you need the least amount of muscle in order to be competitive. And obviously you need lots of muscle mass, so you're gonna have like the easiest barrier to entry from getting into men's physique. So general population rating, I'd probably give it like a 4.5, 5 out of 10, and then competitor rating would probably be like a 2.5 to 3. The next physique is Kostis, and Kostis, man, I'm not even going to try and pronounce your last name. Kostis is a frequent commenter on some of my videos, so I know he's from a different country, and I can't fully pronounce his last name, but Kostis is 26 years old. He's 6'3", he's 194 centimeters, and he's 82.6 kilos, which is 182 pounds. With where he's at the moment. The goal is to keep adding food until I reach a level of muscularity that I believe will be worth having a prep for a natural classic physique show, and he wants to compete next year. So let's take a look at what we're looking at, Kostis. So first of all, legs, particularly the quad and adductor, lots of improvement needs to be made there. Let's see what else we can find. I think your back is okay. You're really lean in these pictures, so we have a really good like accurate grasp of what your muscles and everything look like. I think that you need some like posing improvements, particularly on this side chest here. Just the poses need to be a little bit better, but I think that you have a good base. You know, you've obviously can get really, really lean, and that in itself is going to work in your favor for competing. You know, you'll be able to get in shape and you'll be able to be conditioned, which is obviously half of the puzzle, but you'll just need the muscularity to go with it. I definitely think that your legs from the front, quads, adductors need to improve. Hamstrings as well need to come up from the back. Your upper body does need to improve everywhere, but honestly, man, this is a physique where if you took your upper body and you literally just held what your upper body looks like and you put 3 to 5 pounds or 3 to 7 pounds of muscle like on the lower body only, your physique would look much better, even though the upper body hasn't really improved a ton. If I had to pick one muscle group for you to focus on improving on your upper body, it would definitely be your lats. In the front lat spread and in the back double bicep, and in the, you know, you're not going to hit a lat spread in classic physique, but your lats are obviously going to be very important to your bicep poses. And then if you do, in your favorite classic pose, if you do incorporate like a lat spread or something like that, you're going to want to have the big lats to back that up. So definitely the main focal point is going to be that lower body there, and then some lats. Whether or not you'll be able to bring those up enough in time to be competitive by next year is, again, I've kind of just covered this so many times in the video. Whether you want to compete or whether you want to compete to win, obviously you will be able to step on a stage next year. You can step on stage whenever you want, but I'm not quite sure if you would have a competitive physique by next year. So general population rating, I'd probably give it like 5.5, 6 out of 10, especially with as lean as you are, man. You're really lean, and I think a lot of people would kill to be this lean. As far as competitor scale, this would probably be like a 3.5 or 4 out of 10. The muscularity is kind of like a 2 out of 10, but your conditioning alone kind of brings you up a few points there. So you can get lean, and you've kind of checked that part of the puzzle off, but now you just need the mass, particularly in the legs, to go with that. Next physique is Luke Melo. Luke is 26, 6'3", 232 pounds at the moment. The goal is to do bodybuilding. Natural pro card is the main goal for the 2026 season. And then the rest of the stuff I'll just kind of leave out just for like respect of your privacy and everything. Physique looks great. Wow, man, this is really good arms in particular. That's kind of what's sticking out to me right away is the biceps, and wow, front double bicep looks really good too. Even good shoulders and everything from the front. From where you started at, man, you've made a lot of improvements. So this is actually a really good physique. I definitely think that your legs could be better, particularly from the front. In the pictures that you send, you're not lean enough for me to be able to really kind of see where the hamstrings and everything are at, and the boxers that you're wearing kind of cover up the glutes, so it's kind of hard to tell where the muscularity and everything is at with those, but I can see that a little bit more quad and a little bit more adductor in your front poses would really bring your physique up quite a notch. I think that your waist will actually probably be pretty narrow once you like get lean and obviously get really tight and everything. And arms, I know I've kind of talked about the arms a couple of times, but in particular, man, the biceps and everything look really good. Your bicep poses, the front and rear double bicep pose, all look really solid. I'm not sure what division you would compete in. All that it says for goals is bodybuilding, so I'm not sure if that's like men's bodybuilding or if that's like classic physique, but I do think that a natural pro card, if you can get in condition, man, I think that's definitely an option for you. You know, you're going to have to fight like hell for it. You know, there's going to be a lot of people that will you know, be vouching for that goal. And obviously it depends on what federation you're trying to get that pro card into. Obviously, if you're trying to get that in something like the WNBF, that's going to be considerably harder than doing that in maybe some other federations and stuff like that. But the physique is really, really solid. You look really, really good. You've got a great base, especially for being tall, man. You're 6'3". You're probably the tallest guy that I've gone over yet so far in the video up until this point. So for being a tall guy, man, you filled out that frame pretty well. Tall guys are almost always exclusively going to struggle with filling up their legs, from my experience. So I would really be hammering the legs, particularly the quads and the adductor and everything from there. But you look really, really good, man. This is a great physique. General population, dude, I'd give this like 8.5 out of 10. I mean, I don't think there'd be very many people who would not want to look like this, like on the beach or something like that. Competitor physique, I'm gonna compare you on like a natural scale, because you expressed that the natural pro card is the goal for now. I would say this is like 6.5, 7. And if you can get in shape, natural bodybuilding, dude, those people are gonna get so peeled. It's disgusting how peeled that they get. So this is gonna be a conditioning battle. I mean, you've got the muscularity. It's the conditioning that you're gonna have to fight like hell to get. But if you can bring that conditioning, especially with you being a taller guy, that goal of a natural pro card is definitely not. Look, some people say they want a pro card, and I go, man, like that's a dream. I don't think that's a dream for you. I think that's very much a viable goal for you to achieve. Next physique is Filippo Badarelli. He's from Italy, Italian from Italy. So apologies with the names if I didn't get that correct. 17 years old and 162 pounds, 74 kilos, and he's about 5'7", 173 centimeters. The goal is to compete in classic physique. Wants to put a lot of size on before then. Kind of talks about the history and everything there. I'm just going to kind of leave all that stuff out. So first of all, man, you're really young, and for being as young as you are, obviously you have a long ways ahead of you. I do think that, you had mentioned in the video or in the email that you need to put on a lot of size, and I would definitely agree with that, man. Kind of going, referencing some of the other physiques that I've kind of critiqued a little bit earlier on in the video. You would be a guy where, like, if you came to me, I would say, okay, we're maybe looking at like 5 to 6, 7 years before realistically you're gonna step on stage, especially with your age, man. You're only 17, so you're still super, super young. So this would definitely be a time, and what I would recommend for a guy like you would just be eating in a surplus and gaining weight, getting bigger, getting stronger, and then doing these really quick, brief mini cuts. Hurry up, get the mini cut over, and then get back into a surplus as quick as you can. The posing needs work, but obviously you had mentioned that as well, that the posing needs to improve. But the side chest shot actually doesn't look too bad for a 17-year-old, if you could kind of line everything up. And the back double bicep looks pretty decent for a 17-year-old too. I can kind of see the frame with what you would have there. I just think that this is another one of those physiques where there's potential there, kind of very similar to Chad. There is some definite potential there. It's just going to take a long time to realize that potential, just because of how young you are and how long it takes to put on muscle mass. You're going to have to really be committed to this and love this for 5 to 10 years before you're kind of looking towards the goal where, kind of where you want to be. But it's definitely in the cards. With a general population physique, man, I'd say that this is probably maybe like a 5 out of 10. I won't even give you a competitor's physique, because I know that you mentioned that's like a long ways down the road to you. But I'd say like a solid 5 out of 10, like beach physique. You're probably one of the more jacked ones of your friends. So for people among your age, you're in a pretty good spot. All right, we've got 5 more coming down towards the end here. William Squires. William is 23, 5'9", and 183 pounds. He is actively 26 weeks out from a WNBF show in Canada. So these are actually prep pictures. Good legs right away from the bat. Really good shot here in the side chest. The hamstring looks big and full. Really, really big leg on the side shot here. I do think that the upper body portion of the side chest pose needs to be a little bit bigger. I personally don't like the way that you're hitting that. I think you could be a little bit taller, keep the chest a little bit more upright, and there's a noticeable gap in between your elbow and your torso, and I would close that gap off, and I would kind of just make sure that there's no space there. The front lat spread pose is okay. I do think that your lats could be a little bit bigger, and the shoulders kind of glare out to me as a weakness in this particular pose. If you had really big like capped side delts and maybe some bigger traps that kind of came up towards the neck, this would be a really, really solid pose. Abs and tricep look pretty good in this like front facing shot. Lat spread is okay. Again, the delts need to be a little bit bigger, and your legs actually look quite a bit better than what you're showing them in this back lat spread pose that you're showing here. First of all, the rear lat spread is not a pose in classic physique, so you'll have to make sure that you're practicing the right poses. But I also think that your legs could be a little bit more narrow. You've got a bit of a thigh gap in terms of the distance in between your adductors, and if you close that off a little bit and maybe straighten the leg out a little bit more and stand a little bit taller, I think that you'd look a little bit better in the rear lat spread pose. Overall, man, general population, I would say this is like a solid 7 out of 10 physique. Competitor, I think if you can fix your posing, I think that you'd probably be like a solid 5. Oh, you're doing classic and bodybuilding. Sorry about that. So the lat spread, you're good to go on the lat spread with there, but I'd say competitor, man, I think that you're going to be a little bit better of a bodybuilder than a classic guy. You should still probably do pretty decent in classic, but you may lose some poses to guys that have bigger arms and particularly bigger shoulders than you. You have really good legs, which would fare up pretty well in bodybuilding. So competitor scale, I'd probably give you let's say a 4.5 or a 5 for a drug-tested WNBF show. I think that you'll do pretty decent, man, if you can get in shape. You mentioned that you're 26 weeks out, so again, natural shows, man, those natural guys get absolutely skinless at the highest level, so you're gonna have to really be willing to suffer to get in conditioning. But the muscularity is there, particularly in the lower body. When this show is over and you go into your off season, I would make a big heavy focus on improving your arms and your shoulders, and then the lats as well. But your legs look great. I wouldn't change anything about the way that you're training your legs, and your chest could come up a little bit, but I think if you can hold the chest where it is and you can bring up the muscle groups around it, lats, delts, arms, you'll be really good, man. Really, really good. This is a pretty solid physique here. Leo Volpi. Leo is 21, 5'11", and 200 pounds. Goal is to compete naturally after 5 years or so in the classic division. So he mentions this in his email too. All of these pictures are like gym pictures with a pump and with really good lighting, so you kind of have to take them with a grain of salt. I can really only see a couple pictures of the leg. One of them is like a mirror picture, so again, got to take it with a grain of salt. But the quads look pretty decent in that picture. Arms look really, really good. Shoulders look pretty decent too. I think if you focus specifically on bringing up your side delts, traps, and your hamstrings, I think that those 3 muscle groups are going to be the ones that are really going to make the biggest change to your physique. General population physique, I'd probably give this like a solid 6 or 7 out of 10, man. Again, if you got big arms, the general population loves that. A competitive scale, I'd probably give you like a maybe like a 5 out of 10, 4.5 out of 10, and that's really only because the pictures are hard to tell with where you're really at. You know, you kind of have to take all these pictures with a grain of salt, but pretty decent from what I can see. Amit, A-M-I-T, I hope that I pronounced that right, Drory, 20 years old, 6 foot tall, and 195 pounds. The goal is to compete in classic physique. He doesn't say at any point when, he just kind of says to compete in classic. So I'd say if you did have a strong point on your physique, it would probably be your biceps. Your biceps look pretty decent, and then in this side pose, the triceps and the chest look pretty good too. So I would say that your arms and your chest are definitely a strong point. As far as weak points, you need a lot of improvement in your lats, both in the back shots and in the front shot. In your front double bicep pose, there's hardly any lat that hangs out from underneath the arm, and in your rear shots, there isn't really a lot of lat that kind of swoops down towards the base of the spine. So I would definitely fix those. Anytime that somebody has really strong arms, they're going to want to bring up their shoulders in order to not fill out the physique, basically not make their arms look like they overwhelm your upper body. So upper body wise, I'd be focusing on your shoulders and your lats, and then there's not a ton of pictures of the legs in here, but from what I can see on the legs, the whole leg, quad, calf, hamstring, adductor, glute, it all needs to improve from there, especially if you're going to do classic physique. So general population, I'd probably give this like 5 out of 10, and then competitive physique would probably be like 3, 2.5 to a 3, somewhere in there if you were to step on stage like with this physique. Next up, we have Daniel Silva. Daniel is from Portugal, 19 years old, 6'1", and 75 kilos, so somewhere around 160, 170 pounds. The goal is to compete by the end of 2026 or the start of 2027. So you're looking at about a year and a half or so. So this front lat spread pose that you're hitting here doesn't look too bad. I think the lats definitely need to be bigger. That's one thing that kind of sticks out to me right away, especially for classic physique. You're going to need bigger lats. You guys are probably sick and tired of hearing me say this by now, but that lat in the front pose and your double bicep poses where the lat hangs underneath here, you know, you need that, especially in classic. So bigger lats for sure. I wouldn't say that your legs look bad by any means, but they could definitely get brought up. The whole leg, quad, calf, hamstring, adductor, shoulders as well, particularly the side delts. Your rear delts actually don't look too bad in this rear lat spread pose here, but just kind of keep that in mind. I'm also seeing, I should probably have been calling this out more frequently throughout the video. I'm seeing a lot of classic physique guys sending me pictures of lat spreads, and I just don't know if you guys are aware that you don't hit lat spreads in classic physique. So just kind of keep that in mind. That would be something I would recommend for everybody, regardless of what division you're going to compete in, is you should know what poses you're going to be hitting in that division. So some of the poses that you look the best in are your front and rear lat spreads, and that's actually at a disadvantage for you if you're going to be doing classic physique, because you won't hit those poses. So you need to hit these other mandatory poses that you're actually going to hit. You need to be able to hit those a little bit better. Side chest pose doesn't look too bad. Would like to see some more filled out pecs and then more hamstring drop from the side. Again, that kind of goes back to the legs and everything there. But for a 19-year-old man, you look really, really good. I would say that you definitely need to focus on the lats, and you need to focus on your side delts, and you need to focus on your legs, the whole leg, quad, calf, adductor, hamstring, all of it. So as far as a general population physique, I'd probably give you like a solid like 6.5, 7 out of 10. There's probably not a lot of 19-year-olds that look like you at the beach or the grocery store or whatever. As far as a competitive scale, you're probably at like 4 out of 10, maybe like a 3.5 to 4.5, somewhere in there. Just kind of depends on what type of lineup you would be in, but if you went against somebody that had bigger legs and better lats, you'd probably lose a lot of your poses to that guy. And finally, the last one. Man, we've been recording for over 50 minutes here, man. This has been a long one. Stanley Middlemiss. Stan is 5'10", 89 kilos. And for the goals, he plans to compete in the next 2 years in Classic Physique and hopefully earn a pro card. So again, the pictures here, a lot of these are mirror pictures, so you got to kind of take them with a grain of salt. It doesn't mention if he wants to compete in like a natural show or a enhanced show. You know, whether he's going to be a drug tested guy or not, and obviously that is going to determine how easily that pro card is going to be achieved. I do think that it's possible to maybe hit that if you're a natural guy. You look really good as a natural guy. As far as points to bring up, definitely the legs. I can't really see your legs from the back, but your calves need to improve, quads and adductors and everything need to improve. The posing needs to be better too. So general population physique, man, I'd probably give this like a 7.5 out of 10. And then on a competitor physique, I'd probably give you like 5.5, somewhere in there out of 10. I just need to hit the poses better. And then I'd probably focus on bringing up your legs there as well. All right, guys, that is going to wrap up the first episode of the Rate Your Physique series. I had a lot of fun doing this, guys. I actually had way more fun doing this than what I thought I would. I'm really surprised I got as many applicants as I did. And remember, I had to toss a bunch of the applicants out because the pictures were not that great. Honestly, there were some pictures in here that weren't that great either. A lot of mirror pictures and stuff like that. So just kind of need to be a little bit better about that next time. I would say if there's one thing that I gathered from this video is that there's a lot of people who need to grow their legs, and shit, myself too. You know, you guys have been watching the channel and everything. You know that my legs are the biggest muscle group that need to get brought up for me. So there's a lot of people that are in the same boat as me, really need to start hammering away at those legs and bring up the legs. I just wanted to take a second to thank you for everyone who submitted their physique, and I hope that the criticism and everything finds you in a good spot. Obviously, if there are any questions or concerns or anything, then please leave those as a comment in the video below. Otherwise, guys, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you're interested in coaching or a consultation or any of the services that I offer, I have those in the description below as well. And stay tuned for the next video, guys. Thanks again to everyone who submitted for the first video of the series. And as always, guys, take care of yourselves.